Must-see TV was an advertising gimmick coined by NBC during the 1990s, referring to its primetime block programming on Thursday nights. At the time, this included shows such as Frasier, Will and Grace, Seinfeld, and Friends. These were some of the most watched and beloved shows at that time, with Friends being the second biggest comedy on television directly behind Seinfeld. In fact, Seinfeld alone had made more than $200 million in profits for NBC in 1997, according to the New York Times. NBC dominated Thursday nights, and there was no way they were going to mess this up. And surprisingly, NBC didn't. Time did. Seinfeld's series finale premiered on May 4th, 1998. Then in 2004, both Friends and Frasier ended their shows, and Will and Grace would come to a close in 2005. Although 3 of these shows stuck around after Seinfeld's finale, NBC struggled to develop programming in the early 2000s. And in 2004, for the first time in 21 seasons, NBC ditched their usual programming and replaced it with The Apprentice. NBC went from Thursday night's top-rated network to 4th behind Fox. Seinfeld's departure from the network is important because if just one of these shows left, it could remove that magical must-see TV quality. Although NBC would rebrand Thursday nights in 2006 to Comedy Night Done Right, there exists a season of television in the late 2000s that has gone underappreciated. A season of television in hindsight is crazy to imagine ever existed all at one point. A season of television that truly was must-see. The fall of 2009. Coming out of the summer of 2009, NBC had 3 shows being renewed for a returning season: The Office, Parks and Recreation, and 30 Rock. The Office was entering its season 6 in fall of 2009, and looking back, this is still a very good season of television. Season 4 is personally my favorite of The Office. Nearly every single episode in that season is comedic gold, but there are still plenty of highlights in season 6. Jim and Pam's wedding, the introduction of Saber with Kathy Bates being a strong recurring guest star as Joe Bennett. The season also has the episode Murder, which might be in my top 10 all-time episodes from the series, and probably the most uncomfortable episode of the entire show is Scott's Tots, where Michael must confront a class of high school seniors and tell them he can't pay for their college after he promised them he would when they were in elementary school. Moving on to Parks and Recreation, this show was entering its 2nd season, and at the time this was very much a step in the right direction in terms of quality. Similar to The Office, Parks and Rec had a first season that consisted of 6 episodes, overall receiving mixed feelings and some negative reviews. The biggest fault against the show at the time was that it was too much like The Office. A faux documentary filmed at a workplace, but this time, instead of The Office, we shoot at a government building. I do agree with those critical of the first season. The Office has a reason behind the camera crew filming them every day because they're the subject of a documentary. Parks and Rec seems to use the mockumentary style as a gimmick, and that is something that has always bothered me about the show. However, negatives aside, this season moved in the right direction. Chris Pratt was promoted from a guest star to a main character, the pacing of the show would pick up, the writing became a lot stronger, Amy Poehler continued to ground the show while having phenomenal delivery, and this season would introduce Ben Wyatt and Chris Traeger, who would become so beloved by viewers and the writers themselves that they too would become promoted to main characters in season 3. The 2nd season ironed out a lot of the problems viewers had with the first, and would go on to be critically successful, if not disappointing in the ratings. Okay, I'm going to be honest here, I have not seen 30 Rock. However, just because I haven't seen the show doesn't mean I can't say its presence doesn't improve this season of television. Although this season has the most critical reviews of the entire series, it manages to still be reviewed as a good season of TV. Here's a review from TV critic Mary McNamara. At its best, the show tempers its inside jokes with wide net humor. 30 Rock can no longer claim underdog status. Because like every classic of the genre, 30 Rock is not something you watch. It's a place you visit, where everybody knows your name and your withholding status, and your medical history, where there's nothing wrong with being fun and popular and giving people what they want. And here's the thing, if you think my argument falls apart by me admitting I haven't seen 30 Rock, fine. However, with the previous 2 shows I've seen and already discussed, plus the 2 shows I've yet to even talk about, fall of 2009 on NBC would still be one of the best seasons of television in this new golden age. 30 Rock enhances it. In 2004, then host of The Tonight Show, Jay Leno publicly announced that in 5 years, Conan O'Brien would take over as host.
And I'm proud to say this show has been #1, we will keep it #1, and then in 2009, I'll say, Conan, it's taken over, it's yours.
5 years came and went, and in 2009, there was a peaceful transition of power. Conan, in my opinion, is the best late-night host during my lifetime. His comedy is distinctly unique, and as an actual host, he does a tremendous job with guests. Now, Conan has said himself that hosting The Tonight Show was a dream for him, and in 2009, he got to live out that dream. I've seen plenty of clips from the show, especially from the late, great Norm Macdonald, and although a different format from his previous shows, it feels authentically Conan. I have plenty more to say about this short-lived gem, but I'll be getting to that in due time. Moving on to the last show in the Thursday night lineup was the premiere season of my favorite television comedy of all time, Community. Created by Dan Harmon, the show features his unique story wheel, similar to the hero's journey. This show also is one of the most creative I've seen in television. The ensemble cast is phenomenal, and the characters are brilliantly written. Community's pilot did strong in the ratings, but quickly dipped after episode 2, and it would go on like this through the show's entire run, which is a shame because the latter half of the season would break away from the typical sitcom tropes and begin embracing the weirdness and uniqueness of what the show would later become. Standout episodes include Contemporary American Poultry, which is a 20-minute homage to mobster films such as Goodfellas and Modern Warfare, an episode that feels ripped out of an action film while making fun of its tropes along the way. So, imagine you are NBC. January of 2010, right around the corner. You've got 4 amazing shows in your Thursday night schedule and a late night host doing a bang-up job in the evening block. What's your next move? Of course, the answer was fuck it up. So like I said, in 2009, there was a peaceful transition of power from Jay Leno to Conan to host The Tonight Show. At first. CNBC really liked Jay Leno. So much in fact that they gave him his own late night show. The Jay Leno Show would go on before The Tonight Show, starting at 10, and The Tonight Show would go on at its traditional time of 11:35. However, after ratings disappointed on both programs, NBC's plan was to return Jay to the 11:35 time slot and push Conan to 12:05 a.m. This did not go over well.
Conan O'Brien has joked about the pending late-night shuffle here at NBC, but last night he really took the gloves off.
Hosting The Tonight Show has been the fulfillment of a lifelong dream for me. And I just want to say to the kids out there watching, you can do anything you want in life. Yeah, unless Jay Leno wants to do it too.
You're going back to 11:30, and Conan's going to 12:05 to do The Tonight Show, which, as somebody pointed out, really, at 12:05 is no longer The Tonight Show.
No.
It's tomorrow's show.
It's the tomorrow, really.
It's the next day's show.
You want me to move The Tonight Show to 12:05? Forget it. I'm not doing it. Go to hell!
Conan refused to move. From an article in Maclean's magazine, demonstrations were held across America to protest the reinstatement of Leno, including a rain-soaked rally outside the Tonight Show studio, where O'Brien and sidekick Andy Richter waved to the crowd like politicians departing office. NBC had become one of the most hated companies in the world. Conan himself, in a public statement, said he would not participate in the destruction of The Tonight Show. As a result, Conan negotiated with NBC and received a $45 million settlement if he stepped down from The Tonight Show and refused to appear on television for 6 months. Conan's final episode of The Tonight Show aired on January 22, 2010. He ended the show with this heartfelt remark that has remained one of my favorite send-offs in television.
I'm asking this particularly of young people that watch. Please do not be cynical. I hate cynicism. For the record, it's my least favorite quality. It doesn't lead anywhere. Nobody in life gets exactly what they thought they were going to get. But if you work really hard and you're kind, amazing things will happen. I'm telling you, amazing things will happen. I'm telling you. It's just true.
Jay Leno would go on to replace Conan until 2014, when Jimmy Fallon took over as host. Like I said previously, losing a show could sour the magic of must-see TV. Conan's absence turned many viewers away from NBC, and although Conan did return to late night, it would be through cable network TBS. All that was left for NBC was to let the other shows run their course. 30 Rock concluded after 7 seasons on January 13, 2013. The final season was reduced only to 13 episodes. Get prepared to hear that a lot. The Office also came to a close in 2013 when it concluded after 9 seasons on May 16th. It uniquely kept its 20-plus episode season, and although the majority of the season pales in comparison to the show's glory days, the finale remains to be one of the best I've seen for a long-running television sitcom. Parks and Rec was also a victim of the reduced final season, only getting 13 episodes to conclude the 7th season, and its finale would air on February 24th, 2015. Lastly, probably the saddest fate for a show on this list, NBC had fired creator and showrunner Dan Harmon after Community's 3rd season. The show, due to poor ratings, was always on the threat of cancellation. The 4th season was reduced to only 13 episodes and suffered due to the new showrunners mishandling the genius that was Community. After an extremely disappointing season 4, it was a miracle that season 5 had been renewed, and Dan Harmon was even rehired for the season, keeping the previously adjusted 13-episode season. It was a breath of fresh air and a return to form. However, after season 5, NBC pulled the plug on Community. Community would live to see another day when it was bought for $40 million by Yahoo Screen, a streaming service so good it died trying. Season 6 would be Community's last, keeping good on half the show's now famous catchphrase, 6 seasons and a movie. And that's it. The fallout officially settled in February of 2015 with Parks and Rec's finale. So what's the future of must-see TV? In 2017, NBC attempted to revive must-see TV by moving their biggest show at that time, This Is Us, from Tuesday nights to Thursday. It would follow the revival of Will and Grace and a new comedy, Great News. All 3 shows at the time were critically praised by both audience and critics alike, and following This Is Us would be a new limited series of Law & Order. The choice to move This Is Us had legitimate potential to reinvigorate what Thursday nights were missing. NBC's entertainment chairman Robert Greenblatt said at the time, "To create another undeniable night of television, we're aligning some of our most potent shows on Thursdays in order to bring back must-see TV." NBC's initial decision to shift This Is Us to Thursdays was a bold one. It was effectively announcing that it was going after ABC's 3-hour lineup of Shonda Rhimes shows. Perhaps more significantly, it would also be going head-to-head against the National Football League, a valued business partner in the first half of the season when CBS airs Thursday night games. NBC eventually decided to keep This Is Us on Tuesday to avoid conflict with the NFL once they took over Thursday Night Football. So, will we ever see another era of must-see TV? Well, it depends on what you define as must-see. In the age of streaming services like Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max, new shows release every week that receive critical praise and admiration, people demanding that it's must-see. But if you're like me, and see must-see TV as a stacked Thursday night where hours could be spent of your evening watching all the best shows' new episodes, one after the other, I think the fall of 2009 might have been the last time we'll witness must-see TV.